Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's me, JR Clark, back again with Pound for Pound ATL Live, joined always by my main man, Toby D. What's going on, Toby?
Hey, man, it's been a little minute. I'll be back without a live stream. Hey, man, regardless of how things are turning out, hey, I still love my team, and I'm going to rock with them till the wheels fall off, man.
Oh, no doubt. It's, you know, Falcons, true and true, tried and true, no matter what's going on, even though it always does seem like it's something crazy going on.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the years. As, like, if any of y'all been under a rock, the news broke yesterday afternoon that Calvin Ridley has been suspended for the entire year for betting on football, for gambling on the sport he plays. For all the people who think that it's not a big deal, that's the equivalent to insider trading. I guess is the best way to put it for those who are familiar with the stock market and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's not what you want to see. It's not what you want done. And he, on his mental health break that he was taking in November, he decided that it was a good idea to download a betting app on his phone and place a bet on the Falcons winning. Now, I will say that, you know, for whatever that's worth, the bets that he placed were that the Falcons were going to win. All right. And apparently his winnings were only $1,500. Well, that $1,500 cost him $11 million. You know, so it's almost like I equate that to robbing a gas station for a couple $100 and going away for life.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's nuts. What Tony Wright brings up a good point. They've already heard my thoughts on it because I put out a video yesterday. What are your thoughts on the Calvin Ridley stuff?
I'm very disappointed. That was not something that I was expecting to hear. Now, I felt like Ridley didn't have focus to want to play for the Atlanta Falcons, watching them the first few games of the season anyway. And I kept saying that even after we did our, game recaps and stuff, because he just didn't look like he was that engaged with the team. And you saw times when him and Matt Ryan were not on the same page, especially them first 3 games of the season. And it led all the way up to them, Calvin Ridley saying that he needs to take a mental health break right before the Carolina Panthers game, which really put the team in a funk. You was in the game plan the whole week. And to wait until then to do that. And I didn't want to say anything about the mental health too much because we didn't know exactly what was going on. But this coming out, this tells me that for you to make that type of sacrifice, knowing the rules, that the Falcons definitely was not in your plans to play with, because you gave up $11 million for $1,500, right? And I don't see a future where Calvin Ridley is coming back to this team. Now, I know we're going to get relief this year because of the situation, and we'll get into that, what that does for the Atlanta Falcons. But if he applies to get reinstated to the NFL in 2023, in February of 2023, which is when he would be eligible to do so, I don't see anywhere in the future where the Falcons should want him back, because he's not part of the culture that Arthur Smith is trying to establish here at the Atlanta Falcons organization, which is accountability and earning your paycheck.
Right.
He's already X'd himself out of both of those culture implementations into the Falcons organization. And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and I echo all that. Like regardless of, what comes about next year around this time when he applies for reinstatement, if he gets reinstated, which is a big if at this point, because in other sports, the biggest comparison right now is obviously, Pete Rose. He still has a lifetime ban from baseball.
Yeah.
And so that's something that, professional sports, regardless of how you feel about it, takes very seriously. They're athletes betting on the game. That if there's anything you could say like that damages the integrity of the game. And that's something that the league itself can't abide by, right? They can't have that. I know I've seen Twitter, like people making comparisons. Oh, you can, beat your girlfriend or throw your wife on a stack of guns and it's this suspension or that. Well, okay, that just looks bad on you, the player. Gambling on the league that you play on, that can look bad on the league.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're not going to stand for.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to stand by why somebody, tarnishes, what the league stands for, right? So that's why you get such a harsh ban, right? Such a harsh. And for all those people who are out there tweeting about like, oh, you get a player getting suspended for a year when you have an owner potentially paying a coach to tank. I'll tell you this right now. If they end up proving that, the Miami Dolphins will be sold immediately.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
The only reason why you ain't heard nothing about that is because they're doing their investigations.
Yeah.
Just like you ain't hear nothing about Ridley. This has been going on since the Falcons said they knew as early as February 9th.
Right.
So, like, you ain't hear nothing about Ridley until the suspension came out because they had to do their investigations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once they got the information that they needed, confirmed what they needed to confirm, suspension got handed out. Same deal with down in Miami. If they figure out that man was offering Brian Flores, that they have proof that he was offering Brian Flores money to tank,
mm-hmm.
yeah, Ross will no longer own the Miami Dolphins. I can guarantee you that.
Yep.
Yep. But, that's, man, to come in, like the part that I keep thinking about for somebody put it out there, for 37 days last year, for 37 days, you had the idea of Julio, Ridley, and Pitts all on the same field together. By not even halfway through the season, you were down to just Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're talking about having the idea of almost having to re-sign Russell Gage as your number one. I made that joke.
Yeah.
I made that, like, bold prediction, like, before all this happened, which, hey, you know what? I'm kind of almost 2 for 2 with these bold predictions. I don't know if I want to be, but yeah, it's looking like a real possibility that you're going to have, you almost have to re-sign him now.
Yeah.
Because you need to have somebody who knows this offense.
Yep.
Whether he's actually your number one or not, like, he's going to, you better hope nobody actually offers him some money.
And see, that's the thing they was talking about on NFL Now today. I mean, somebody could offer Russell Gage a serious amount of competitive money that you're going to have to compete with in order to bring Russell Gage back here. And that is a strong possibility.
Yeah, and that's not something I'm, like, I want to bring him back for, like,
$6 million a year.
Yeah, something like that.
$12 million guaranteed.
Right.
For the first 2 years. A 3-year deal.
Right. That's what I'm wanting to bring him back. Like a, Ronnie just put in the chat, pay him like a wide receiver 3. Exactly. That's what I'm wanting. Be Strong just tipped us $5, which we appreciate.
Appreciate that, Be Strong.
He says, I hope they let us watch football in heaven because I'm not sure the Falcons are going to win a Super Bowl in our lifetime. Dude. What you talking about, Be Strong? I'll tell you this. Unless some crazy, and we can go ahead and get into it really, unless some crazy miracle happens, they ain't going to win one in Ryan's, like, career.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't even trying to be negative Nancy or whatever. Like, I felt like this time last year before everything started to crumble, before Jones got traded, before Calvin walked away, that there was a chance that if the chips fell the right way, there was a chance that we could be competitive sooner rather than later.
Right.
Well, guess what? The chips did not fall the right way. They did not fall towards the Falcons. So now I'm just like, at this point, if somebody calls and offers a halfway respectable offer to trade for Matt Ryan, I'd do it. Like, you couldn't have got me to do it last year. But the way everything has turned out now, like, might as well at this point. If I can get an extra first round, like the title says, we're in a forced rebuild.
Yeah.
Whether we want to admit it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like over the last year, over the summer, I had to force remodel my kitchen. I don't know if y'all remember me talking about that. It was a forced remodel. My dishwasher was leaking. It had rotted my floor. So I had to rip out the whole thing and do it again. Didn't want to. This is when lumber was through the roof. Like, it cost me probably $1,000 more than it should have.
Yeah.
Didn't want to. Had to. Well, that's where the Falcons find themselves right now.
Yeah, they are. And look, when I tweeted out about the Falcons finding themselves with no number one wide receiver or number two, and no number one pass rusher because you let Dante Fowler go if we consider him the number one, and no number two. And, people were trying to compare the 2007 season. Ladies and gentlemen, that's very different. Roddy White and Michael Jenkins were former first-round picks already on the Atlanta Falcons in 2007. So they had a number one and a number two. Matter of fact, that's when Roddy White started going on his 1,000-yard streak that first year in 2007, right? You also had John Abraham, a number one pass rusher, who just so happened to have 10 sacks that year.
Mm-hmm.
It was 10 quiet sacks because of all the chaos that was going on surrounding Michael Vick. But you had pieces. When Mike Smith came here, he had a number one pass rusher, a number one and number two wide receiver. You get Arthur Smith here, he ain't got Julio.
Nope.
He didn't know he was not going to have Calvin Ridley up until October.
Right.
Now, you don't even have a number one pass rusher going into the season until you get free agency and see what they're going to do there in the draft.
That's it.
But right now, you without any of those guys. And that's what I meant when I tweeted that out.
Yeah, and your tweet had me thinking this morning. So you got 22 starters on the field, right?
Yeah.
That you got to have. Because technically speaking, you could take them 22 starters and, fill out the special teams unit. You're not going to do that, but we're just talking offense, defense. You got 22 starters. Out of those 22 positions, you got 6 guys that you can count on. 6 out of 22. You got Grady Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
You got A.J. Terrell.
Yep.
You got Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
You got Chris Lindstrom. You got Jake Matthews. And you got, I'm missing one. Who am I missing?
Hey,
Kyle Pitts.
You talking about
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle
That's
Pitts,
it.
yeah.
Kyle Pitts.
Yep. Right.
That's all you got to count on. Like, seriously. Like that we know are quality NFL football players. Yep. You can't say that. We hope that about Richie Grant.
Yeah.
We hope that about Jalen Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that about Mykal Walker.
Yep.
But we don't know for sure what we got there. And that you got even less on the other side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, technically speaking, Cordell Patterson's a free agent.
Yep.
So you got Mike Davis, which we don't know what that's going to be because he sure enough didn't show nothing last year to really make you comfortable with him being in the backfield.
Right.
I think you got Quadre Olison. I think is still on his rookie contract, but he ain't shown you nothing. Like, or you ain't given him much of a chance to show you anything, not under Smith.
No.
So, yeah, here it is. Let's see. Hold on. Let me make sure I get this right. Here it is, March 8th, 2022, and I'm in a far different place than I was this time last year.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, totally different place. They're like, Next week starts free agency. Like next Monday is the legal tampering window, either Sunday or Monday.
Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. So, we'll start to get an idea of what this team wants to do.
Yeah.
You're going to know for sure because they're going to have to create space to do anything.
Right.
So they're going to tell you their intent by what they do on how they create space. So Tuesday before the start of free agency, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you think they extend Matt Ryan?
No. I'm starting to believe your bold prediction. I believe that they're now in a situation where, and I think it's a good situation because you got Calvin Ridley's money back, right? Now you become cap compliant, so you don't have to worry about that like you did last year,
right?
Trying to move stuff around and become cap compliant. I believe there's a situation like what you said, that they leave Matt Ryan's contract alone, where they will have the luxury, if they need to move on from Matt Ryan in 2023, because his cap hit won't be but 15 or so and some change $1 million in a dead cap. So I think they leave Matt Ryan alone. I don't think they extend Matt Ryan at all. And now, if Matt Ryan balls out, I'm still under the belief, I don't even think they still do it, because the fan base is not happy with Matt Ryan. And they did the right thing by drafting Kyle Pitts. We see that right now. He's becoming already a bona fide star within his first year. I mean, you just saw the Instagram or whatever, he out hanging with Justin Fields and stuff like that. This guy's been doing his thing already the first year. And I think fans are excited about him, but they're still not as excited about seeing Matt Ryan. And I think in 2023, I actually honestly believe that we could be seeing the last of Matt Ryan in 2022. That's just my feeling.
No, and I feel the same way. Like, honestly, as big of, and I still am, as big as of a Matt Ryan supporter that I am, I think this season, if he's on the roster starting this season, I believe this will be the last year you see him in a Falcons uniform, because last year definitely did not go the way they wanted it to go with their talks and ideas about, like, oh, we're not trying to rebuild, we're trying to contend. Well, they fell on their face there. Like, regardless if you want to blame them or not, however you want to blame it, or wherever you want to stick the blame at, doesn't matter. They fell on their face, and so they can't go in with that same kind of bravado. Yeah. Like, they can talk about wanting to compete, and they can talk about, like, trying to put the best team on the field that they can, but, like, realistically, they can't talk about, like, realistically competing, right? Because it just ain't there. So with that being said, like, you have to start looking towards the future. Like, Terry Fontenot full on admitted, like, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Right.
Like I'll put it to you this way. At least he's not shying away from it. Like, he's addressing the elephant in the room with the big cap numbers. And, he's talking about trying to have their cake and eat it too. So at least in that aspect, I'm starting to go, okay, at least I can halfway believe what he's saying. And also spoke volumes. You go back and watch his pressers. When they asked him about Calvin Ridley, the words he used, it was, we've done all we can do. Not we're doing all we can. Yeah. Like, they knew. Like, somebody tweeted it out there, and I thought it was a clever thing. I wish I had thought of it. Somebody, like, the amount of restraint that Terry Fontenot had not to say, if I was a betting man, in one of those. That would have been. I saw that. Did you see that tweet? Yeah. That was great.
I saw that.
That was great. I think I might have been a Falcoholic. Yeah. But that was like, I was like, man, beat me to that quip. That was amazing.
Man, that was genius.
Yeah. Because I couldn't, like, if it had been me, boy, I'd have done it. I'd have been like, man, if I was a betting man, I don't know.
Yeah. Now, see, and I'm going to tell you something. I think him and Terry Arthur hinted out what their vision is for the new quarterback coming in. They want to build this team first. and then go after the guy. So I do believe that this year you could see a little bit more of their vision before they get into 2023, because they know they got to make some big leaps forward if they're trying to build this team to get ready for that new QB. And this is another reason why I do believe that they will move on from Matt Ryan in 2023. Now, whether they trade for a QB, a veteran, to take over in the place of Matt Ryan, or draft one, that will remain to be seen. But I do believe that we could be looking at another quarterback in 2023. And that's just how I see it.
Right. No,
it may not happen. Matt Ryan may ball out, and all this might be wrong, but I just, because of the fan base, don't see them going another year with Matt Ryan because of the way the fan base is feeling right now.
Right. Now, yeah, I agree with that. And that empty stadium week in and week out can't be looking good for Arthur Blank. You know, he can't be enjoying seeing that. Well, that's pretty much our open salvo. As you figure, the chat room is popping off a little bit, so I want to jump in here and talk with the folks. Blizz818 says, "Sup, P for P crew, man, what's going on, brother? Glad you're in here tonight." Same thing with Nick. Nick Bungalow is in here. He says, "Wilson to the Broncos, Rodgers staying in Green Bay." Yeah, we ain't even really
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we really ain't even gotten into that yet.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Chris Jameson's in here. Says Matt Ryan staying in the ATL as well. For now. We ain't gotten there yet. Don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. Mississippi paper says, "Pound for pound family. Can you all believe what's going on? It is crazy. It is popping off already." And I honestly, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of here for the chaos. You know, I kind of enjoy that's going on. Let's see. Charles B says, West Atlanta in the house. What's going on, Charles?
What's up?
William Amy says, embarrassing. Yeah, unfortunately, normally when we're in the news, it's not for something good. Tony Wright. Hey, Tony, hadn't seen you in a while. He says, what's up, JR and Toby? What's going on, brother? Our good pal, Woom Carter, is up in there. Says, he says, "Rise up, pound for pound family. Where do you guys think the Falcons go from here? Do you think this team have a plan in place?" They do, and we're going to see how they execute.
Yep.
That's going.
I got a little mocking advice though, because after all that went down, I need y'all to not get emotional mocking wide receivers at number 8 for the Atlanta Falcons. Just slow your roll just a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't think the Calvin Ridley thing actually changes the draft plan at all.
Yeah.
Only thing it might do is it might, have them listening to trade down offers in the first round, maybe a little more, because I bet you they were expecting to garner another first or a second from Calvin, because we did get reports that the Patriots and the Browns were interested, and good on the Falcons in a sense for not
very interested.
Yeah, for not pulling that trigger, knowing something was coming down the pipe. Tony Wright says, "We don't know if Calvin was on betting earlier in the season. For example, look at the Washington game, a game we should have won, as Ridley had several drops in the game that cost us the win." Woo! That's the thing that you're never going to, for Ridley, you're never going to truly be able to convince people.
See,
and that's where I think he may be done.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Joseph Thornton says, "What's up? What's going on, Joseph?" Dexter Valish gives us one of these. What's going on, Dexter?
What's up?
Ghost Pepper's in the house tonight. Thank you, Ghost, for joining us. Our good buddy Ronnie from Fleek from Twitter is in here tonight. Thank you, Ronnie. He says, "I wanted Russell Gage back regardless, man." Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind him back, but like I said, not at a wide receiver 1 price, that's for sure. James Carter says, well, apparently some other YouTubers were upset of yesterday. I'm sure they were. They live off of that drama. We are, Anyway, Tony Wright says, we re-sign Russell Gage and Cordell Patterson and then draft Christian Watson as we draft him with our first round pick at 43. I think he means second round pick there at 43. Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be there, buddy.
He may not. He's rising up quite. But
yeah.
I will say, as deep as this draft is with the wide receivers, that could cause people could be all like, we'll wait until the second round to, grab a wide receiver. But if we can come away with Christian Watson, I will be happy.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Starting at 27, on back, I do not see him making it past Kansas City at 30. I don't see it. I mean, this guy, I got a second round grade on him, an early second round grade at that.
Mm-hmm.
But those teams starting there, if you want them, you're going to have to take them at 8, or you're going to have to figure out how to jump back in the first round to get them.
Right.
Because I just see Christian Watson gone before he even gets to 33.
And the thing there is, with that being said, with as deep as this draft is, at wide receiver, at some of these positions, like, I don't think you can afford to be giving up any assets, like draft capital wise, to be moving up. You know, with the way this roster is, I would think you'd be trying to gather assets, to be able to get more picks. But, when was the last time we really saw the Falcons try to grab some more picks,
Yeah, I mean, this could be a year they might trade down if they get the right offers. You already know Terry them is not giving up anything for pennies.
No, you're going to have to come with it.
Yeah, you got to come with a haul.
Right. So even if it's not a team,
if you want that 8th pick.
even if it's not a team that wants to trade for Ryan, maybe QB needy team wants to trade for that 8th overall pick.
Yeah,
like a Washington or a Steelers or what have you.
Yeah, well, we know who won't be taking a QB now.
Seattle.
Because they just traded their pick.
I say Denver.
With
Denver.
Right,
Denver.
Yeah, Denver. So Seattle's now got the 9th pick.
Yeah, and you might need that
in the draft.
In a sense, that 9th pick actually makes. Man, I got this spot in my throat. Anyway, that 9th pick from Seattle actually makes the 8th pick a lot juicier. Because you might need to jump Seattle if you're really wanting a QB. So if you're Washington or if you're Pittsburgh, you may need to jump Seattle if you're wanting Malik Willis or if you're wanting Kenny Pickett or whoever. Especially if Carolina passes on a quarterback. If Carolina passes and they take an offensive lineman, which a lot of people are predicting, that could be an interesting spot.
Yeah, it could.
Dylan Gomez says Falcons absolutely need Breece Hall. I will get on that train.
I'm on it.
Like Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to think, and it's going to sound silly, I don't want to think much about Breece Hall because I think he's going to be out of our area. And so I don't want to get my hopes up. But a Kenneth Walker or a Breece Hall, that's my pie in the sky right there. Yeah,
and we can land one of those two guys at 43. Oh, man.
That'd be amazing.
That will be all we need there to really get that run game going.
Wallace Smith is in the building. What's going on, Wallace? Glad you're in here.
Wallace.
Let's see. Tabig says, no way we're going to pay Matt Ryan $48 million. So there will be no trade or cuts with Ryan. Hey, you keep that energy. I bet you.
So I got a secret about that. Matt Ryan's already got his money.
It.
When the only reason you're seeing $48 million on the cap is because they have the luxury of stretching it out throughout the remainder of Matt Ryan's years. But Matt Ryan's already got his restructure.
Let me put to you like this, folks. Matt Ryan's base salary this year is $16 million.
Right.
We get caught up on that $48 million cap hit.
Right.
But that's only because of restructures. A new team is only going to take on I think it's $24 million.
Yeah, because of that $7.5 million in roster bonus if they were to take him now before March 18th. I think that would
So a new team ain't taking on the full 48. So you got to get that out of your head. That's not how that works. Like, even if we trade Ryan, we're only going to get, I think, $8 million worth of cap relief.
Right.
If you're trading him for a haul of draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, they'll trade him if somebody gives them the what they're looking for. Let's see. Eric McDowell says, sign Matty Ice up for another season. It's looking like 2022 is going to be another season for sure, at least right now.
Yeah.
To Big says, Jordan Love is the way to go. Yeah, ain't that interesting now? Jordan Love, what are the Packers? Don't they kind of look silly?
Not at no second round pick, right? Because there's talks that they're looking for a possible second round pick for Jordan Love. I do not see the Falcons giving up one of their second round picks for Jordan Love. They can't even afford to give up a second round pick for a guy that probably won't start the year that Matt Ryan is probably projected to be here at least through 2022 season.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't want Jordan Love anywhere near this team at this moment. I know he's still young. I get it. But you already got a young ex-first rounder still on the roster with Josh Rosen.
Exactly.
I don't need another one. Let's see. Ronnie says, what y'all gonna do when y'all see the Falcons have traded Matt Ryan to the Washington Commanders tweet? I am going to cackle like a little schoolgirl.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all folks, man. I already said it. I'm here for the chaos. I'm here to see what craziness is going to transpire. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, I'll cackle and look and see how the pieces are going to fall. I'll look and see Twitter rejoicing that Matt Ryan's gone.
I mean, look, the realization of what happened with Calvin really brought that into focus for me. I'm prepared for whatever at this point because Falcons are rebuilding. So if they find someone who's going to give them the package that they want for Matt Ryan, I ain't mad with it.
Nope. No, I definitely ain't mad with it if they feel like if they can get it. Let's see. Fred Butt says we're going to re-sign him for 4 or 5 years. Maybe. Who knows? You going if that happens, Fred, you're going to see that the next week. Because they're going to want money going into this draft or into this free agency.
Yeah.
So if that's the plan, if that's on the table, we'll have that answer in the next day or two. Not day or two, but we'll have that answer by this time next week. Tony Wright says, I commend Terry Fontenot for not trading Ridley as he had offers. Exactly. Yeah, we talked about that. Well, you knew what that was going to do. If you traded him without disclosing that stuff, you would almost become a pariah in the NFL as well. So you couldn't do that. Woon Carter says, if Deshaun Watson is clear, I won't be surprised if the Falcons are having a conversation with the Texans. That's an interesting thing, Deshaun Watson. Like that all comes down to his legal situation.
Right.
Like if it comes out tomorrow that he's totally clear, nothing's going to happen, he's good to go, they'll have offers from Washington, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Carolina, hell, probably even Miami. Like he's the cream of the crop at this point. You know, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So if he were to come clear, I don't think he would come to Atlanta. Like we don't have the capital to get him here. So let's see. Damian Beer says, I don't know. He says, I'm down with Terry F. and A. Smith. Go Falcons, never going to give up. No, we ain't giving up. That much for sure. He says, we're getting Jordan Davis. Yeah, we ain't even got to talking about the combine yet. And what Jordan Davis does.
It's a lot.
Fred Butt says, Jordan Davis should be our first pick. Easy. All right, so let's unpack that. Let's get off the semi-negative stuff for a minute.
Let's go.
Do you think what Jordan Davis did at the combine, does that get him back into the top 10 where he was early?
Yes and no, because it's going to depend on what team that is that would actually take him there. Falcons could be in play. I mean, let me start by saying this. I'm not surprised that Jordan Davis did that. I had already tweeted that out back in early January that he would test well. I knew that based on watching the player and knowing what he would do. So that official 4.78 was not a shock to me when he did it. I don't know if that would be someone in play for the Atlanta Falcons, but it could possibly be. That could be somebody they've been looking at all along. But you guys know from what I don't put out, Sauce Gardner is my guy. And he may have taken himself out of the Falcons range. Right now, he's currently the 7th player on my board right now. And there's talk to him could be going to the Giants or the Jets at 4 and 5.
Well, I'll tell you this, like straight up and down, like Jordan Davis, like he did himself a lot of favors in that
yes,
combine.
He did.
Like,
yes,
he is what the combine was meant for. You know, players being able to. And then on the reverse opposite, Majay Sanders, he did not do himself any favors. Like, if he was sick or whatever, I commend him for trying to go, but he should have held himself out.
Man, he lost a lot of weight, man. That's
20 pounds since Mobile? I mean, I might have gained 20 pounds since Mobile. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't gained no 20. But no, I mean, that's nuts. That's 20 pounds in like a month.
Yeah.
That ain't healthy at all.
Crazy,
I don't care.
Man.
Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, but the combine, but then again, I've heard reports that there was they didn't have a combine since they changed their turf over there in Indy. So they're saying that it was a real fast track. So that might have helped some of these guys' numbers. Like, I don't know exactly what a fast track really means, but.
Well, it didn't help Treylon Burks' numbers.
It didn't help him. It didn't help DeMarvin Leal.
No.
Like
thank God.
Like DeMarvin Leal was in the high first rounds when this stuff started. Now there's people talking about it might not even take it. He might not even make it through the second. He might be a third round guy.
Man. Boy, that sucks. I'm not taking him out of my first round. I still believe he's a first round talent that's probably going to slip. And it's unfortunate, but okay, if he slips and the Falcons happen to be able to get him, let's go.
I mean, I'll take him in the latter half of the second and try to figure it out. You know?
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Back to, we touched on that for a minute. Let's see. Fair Play Sports says we need more likes on this video. I should have read that first. Y'all like it if you want to. We appreciate it. Let's see. Foreign Idea says move 8 and 84 to wide receiver 1 and 2. Draft Brees and help the run. Man, you keep 8 at tight end. Like, you want to force those matchups. Like, you keep 8 at tight end.
Yeah.
84, like, that's fine. If you want to re-sign Patterson and say he's a use him how you used him. Use him, that's
right.
Let's see. Ghost Pepper says I have stated my admiration for Ryan many times before, but if we can get even half of what they got for Russell, probably more than half, but less than the Hall, don't bat an eye. No, definitely not. If somebody comes with that kind of an offer, I don't think they will, because he's 37 years old. Right. Like, you give that to Russell because he has the length of a contract less than, he's 4 years younger than Ryan. So that's the length of a contract extension. So you give that up because you feel like you've got, a decade with him or close, close to it. Georgia Pyro Dog says, this was always a rebuild, regardless of what management says. Yeah, that's kind of the way I pretty much felt about it, especially after the preseason games. Monk says, if Washington doesn't make any moves in free agency for QB, I think they're our best bet for trading down. I tend to agree with that assessment. I think that if they don't make some kind of move to get Garoppolo or Jordan Love or Matt Ryan or whatever, I think they're our best chance to trade down. And from all reports, it sounds like Rivera wants a veteran QB.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
And hey, we'll see. That may make them be like, hey, look, I know y'all don't want to trade Matt Ryan within the conference, but if they come up with something that's hard to
They may
refuse,
have to.
Falcons,
That's
you
it.
got to take it. You got to take it, bro.
Woo Wee says they will draft Malik or Ritter this year. This year's draft. What's up, guys? That's a possibility. Ritter is definitely a possibility. I think if Ritter's sitting there at the top of the second, I think they take a swing on him. Honestly.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I'm making that prediction now. If Ritter's sitting there at the top of round 2, I think they take him. Tasman says, well, what's up, JR and Toby? What's going on, Taz? Joshua Malavius says, what's up, fellas? What's going on, gentlemen? Glad y'all are here. Nate says, Carson Strong is a good QB also. Carson Strong is a good QB. He's just your more traditional QB. So that's the question that you're going to have to ask. Like, Carson Strong is a drop back, throw it down the field.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for what is now classified as the modern quarterback, Carson Strong is not your guy.
Yeah.
So I just want y'all to know that right up front. I ain't got no problem with Carson Strong. He's got decent decision making and all puns intended, I guess, a strong arm. Like, he could throw it end zone to end zone. So,
good.
I got no problem with him. It's just he's not that mobile guy, Let's see. Keep it on going. Y'all gotten some really great comments tonight. Let's see. Definitely can't. Okay, this is Bridget says definitely can't afford to give up a pick. No, we can't. We got too many holes. Even at BPA, you can't afford to give a pick. Travis Jones in the second round. Travis Jones may have put himself in the first round.
Boy, I'm telling you, boy, that person. The way this draft is setting up, some of these guys have really forced the hands of a lot of these teams down here at the bottom of that first round, man. That bottom of the first round is going to look real interesting when it's all said and done, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is as deep as it is in certain positions, such as running back, wide receiver, edge rusher, and that's really about it. Those three positions are really deep. That may that may work in our favor and allowing us to get a second round talent in the third. Like a guy like maybe now a Majay Sanders. Maybe you grab him in the third or even the fourth. If you feel like his medicals are going to check out and he drops because of that, Or you could get a guy, a really good running back in the third or fourth.
Yeah, you could.
Like a Kennedy Brooks, who's a good, or Hassan Haskins, who's one of my favorites. Brian Robinson out of Alabama. Damian Pierce.
Pierre
Strong, who's not getting a lot of buzz, but is a really good back.
But he's climbing.
So
yeah.
All right, let's see here. Joshua says, y'all think with Ridley definitely being gone this upcoming season, the Atlanta draft plan has now changed? We definitely gonna need a wide receiver one. You're gonna need that regardless. Because I don't think after pulling the mental health stuff the way he did, I'm not trying to dog it or nothing like that. I'm just stating the facts. I think they were going to move on from him regardless, so I don't actually think it changed anything.
Right.
Tasman says, sad to say, but thank you, Calvin, for surrendering your $11 million off the books due to your activity gambling and betting on the team. I will say this: that $11 million was coming off regardless. I would have liked to gotten a pick in return.
I want my cake. I wanted my cake and eat it too. With the Calvin Ridley thing.
To me, that was yet another, you let the team down again. Where you could have gotten, we could have traded you for a second, a first, whatever. Now we get nothing in return other than the cap space.
Yep.
So, I get the sentiment. That is the silver lining, but I would have liked more in a sense. Wallace says, I think it's hard. It's harder to trade down than it is to trade up. Yeah, of course. Because you got to have somebody willing to come up. So, yeah, it's definitely harder. Nick says mobile QBs need O-lines too. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, you got to fix this O-line, and that's what Toby was talking about earlier when they said they were wanting to build this team kind of before they get their guy, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's their top focus right now, building the team and then getting it ready so that they can have a QB possibly to start right away and be ready to go.
Tony Wright brings up a good name. He says, JR and Toby, though we are limited financially, I believe we should sign offensive guard / center James Daniels out of Chicago and start him at left guard. I agree. Like, we need to sign somebody. Like, I'm of the opinion that I want a center, especially if you're keeping Ryan, or even a young guy. Like, a center, a really good, competent center, helps the whole thing work. Like, we saw what happened when we got Alex Mack here. So, give me a Ben Jones. If you're getting James Daniels, I would much rather put him in at center than at left guard. Like, I'm kind of going to bet on that maybe Mayfield comes up because there's almost nowhere to go but up with him. So, maybe. Anyway. Raymond Kirkland says, what's Alabama's Jameson Williams at pick 8? I'm going to go ahead and call it. For a little bit longer, I don't necessarily want an Alabama wide receiver right now. With Calvin Ridley betting on folks and Henry Ruggs DUIing down the road there in Las Vegas, and wasn't there another one that did something crazy? Another Alabama receiver?
I
anyway,
can't remember,
right now,
but
right now they ain't had a good track record. So maybe give it a year.
Yeah, I will say this. Jameson Williams is the only guy I'm taking in the top 10. Despite his situation right now, which I read today, that he is on track to be able to play this year. So he would be the only guy that if the Falcons could afford to wait, I would take it 8. And I didn't mean to rhyme that, but it just happened. But other than that, Garrett Wilson is my second ranked wide receiver. And I wouldn't be mad when he ran an official 4.38, and watching what he's done at Ohio State. If they did take him at 8, but I would prefer not to take him that high. I think I got him ranked at like 13th or 14th on my board right now.
Yeah, no, like right now, I want a defensive blue chip prospect at 8. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Whether it's a pass rusher, whether it's Thibodeau or whoever might fall to us, or a secondary guy. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on. I just saw the question. Okay. Monks asks, what free agent wideouts would be a good fit for us? Number 1 on that list, probably going to be out of our price range, but Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
You want to talk about him for a second?
Allen Robinson, I definitely would love to bring here. There's a lot of people that believe that he would be out of our price range, but I don't feel that. I think, considering the way that his time went with Chicago, he's going to have to prove himself that he can be a number 1 guy. And I think the Falcons could get him at the right time here to show he can be that guy, and then pay him if he's able to show he can do it as a number 1 for the Atlanta Falcons. So I think, honestly, that he would be in our price range to get this year because he didn't have a good year, and his health situation has been up and down. He would have to show that he's worth $15 to $20 million a year.
I think I agree there. And maybe it's something where you backload the contract or something. With knowing that the cap hit that we got coming up, or cap space we got coming up, maybe you backload it. But yeah, Allen Robinson would be like tops on my list. Then you got DJ Chark from Jacksonville.
Yep.
One of the guys that I want to just resign, Josh Reynolds, just resigned up in
Yeah,
Up in
man.
Detroit. I was kind of hoping for him. Some of the other guys is Traquan Smith from New Orleans. Like, he might be a guy that gets away. So you might be able to sign him for a cheap deal.
Yeah.
And like, it looks like Amari Cooper is going to get released, and potentially like AJ Green if you wanted like an older veteran. And then Juju Smith-Schuster would be an interesting guy too. He's a big body guy, contested catch guy. I think he could thrive in an Arthur Smith system. Quentin Braun says, I'll take Juju too. Yeah, exactly. Juju Smith-Schuster would be. And he picked up, he says, Vandals, the Scantling kid out of Green Bay. Could be.
Yeah, and I heard Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, any of those names would be interesting. Let's see. Keep on rocking here. Bubba Gump's.
But Russell Gage may be the one re-signed.
Bubba Gump says McGarry can compete for a job at Publix. Yes, McGarry can. Oh man, that's good. I like that. Ian says Ben Jones and James Daniels. Yeah, those two are the height on my high list right now. Ben Jones for sure. Let's see. Hey, who knows? Maybe Julio Jones gets cut and we can re-sign him for a. Sorry. D. Sloan, our buddy D. Sloan, he just tipped us $2. Thank you, D.
What's up, man? It's been a while.
He says, fellas, it's been a very interesting offseason. Yes, it has. And we ain't even really got started yet.
I know D. Sloan was excited about what Jordan Diggs did.
See, John Slanton says, the year when we got Deion Jones and Grady, why can't we can get some D-line help with some UGA players and O-line, also seen at safety. Go heavy on the draft on defense and Pickens. He just wants to get a whole Georgia draft going on. I see what you're doing over there. Hey, they won the combine, that's for sure.
Yeah, they did do that.
If you want to give out combine trophies, them dogs had it. I don't know what they've been feeding them up there in Athens. I go up there quite a bit, and I don't see no fancy restaurants or nothing. But, yeah. Let's see. Damian says we drafted C. Watson in the second round. Maybe. Let's see. Coach Bigelow Country. What's up, Coach? He said he'd take Juju all day. That's right. I take Juju. Tony Wright says, he's talking to Low. Quint Braun says, I'll take Gage back for a second or third. That's the thing. If you're paying Gage wide receiver one money, I think you're messing up. If that's what it takes to bring Gage back, I'm letting him walk. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting somebody else pay him that because I know what he's I know what he's worth. Let's see. Anonymous says, damn, missed the whole show. They must have already talked about Ridley. We've spent a little bit of time, Anonymous, talking about Ridley. But the good thing is you can always go back and watch the show. So, which helps us out as well. Let's see. Mock says, heard Pickens got an attitude. After Jones and Ridley, I don't know if I can handle another wide receiver fallout. I have heard that Pickens does have a bad attitude. So it'll be interesting to see if that, causes him to fall, especially with, the stuff about you can't really question his work ethic. So is it a bad attitude that comes out on the field against other players, like the other team? Or is it like locker room bad attitude,
No. He ain't taking no mess. I'm tell you that right now. It's hard for him to back down from somebody when he feels threatened on the field. I mean, we saw that a couple of years ago in the Georgia Tech game, and that's the game they like to talk about it a lot as far as his attitude coming out, right? But I think in the right locker room, he would be a great guy if he's a guy that you're looking at to draft. You can get a steal with him.
I think so.
I mean, I think he ran an official 4.43 at the combine. So he's shown he's fully healed from that ACL injury.
And if you're wanting a guy who can come in and also like give you something in run blocking, like he's gonna give you that in spades.
He do that too. Yeah.
So for me, it's like, again, like the way this draft is shaping up, like you're gonna be able to get like a Calvin Austin in like the third, for like your shifty little jitterbug kind of guy. George Pickens, Tolbert out of South Alabama.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of good choices that in my mock draft that I'm going to try to get posted tonight to the website, I double dipped on wide receiver and running back. I took the kid out of Texas Tech, Eric Izunakama, I believe.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but don't ask me to pronounce.
Anyway, I took him towards the end of the draft because I think he's a guy who's going to be a better pro than he was a college player. And so, of course, I took Christian Watson in a second because, I had to. Like, I had to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my guy. If he's there, I gotta grab him.
Yeah.
And I ain't been able to do a mock yet that I hadn't taken Sauce Gardner at the top.
Boy, let me tell you, it's solid.
Every time I go to do one, I'm like, all right, this time I'm gonna take somebody different. And Sauce is sitting there, and I'm like, I gotta do it.
Hey, he's still there, Doc. I'm taking him all day.
I'm talking like hot sauce in Atlanta is all I'm trying to say. Wow. Damian Beard says Sauce Gardner is the truth. Generational talent, would not be mad. I understand. Like I got into a conversation with somebody on Twitter the other day talking about like diminishing returns with having 2 lockdown corners, because generally like a team only has 1 star quality receiver, so you don't necessarily need another lockdown corner on the other side. But and I get that argument, I really do. But for me it is like I want a no-fly zone, period. Like I want an elite unit. And if Sauce Gardner's there or if Kyle Hamilton's there, like you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Because like having, like right now, like you just stated, we don't have a pass rush, like at all. There ain't nobody that we can call number 1. So I'm going to bet that I can potentially get some coverage sacks.
And there we go. See, if you get somebody like a Sauce or Kyle Hamilton at 8, and Kyle should by chance fall, you just help your pass rush, and you just made the draft better because you didn't have to use first round pick on a pass rusher when there are high motor, high effort players. Cameron Thomas to be one of them. Josh Pascal. I don't. A lot of people are not really high on Josh Pascal, but if he's in a defense like that with a secondary behind us the way they are, he's gonna get a lot of sacks with them coverage sacks because he got a high motor, high effort type of talent, and that really helps the draft, man. When you don't have to go after those guys, those top premier pass rushers, when all those guys you need up front can help you do what you need to do if you got a secondary that can allow them to get to the QB.
And that's the thing and the way Dean Pease likes to run, that he has shown from New England to Baltimore to Tennessee, he builds from the back front. Like that's what he, that's what he likes to do. He likes to use those defensive backs to create different looks, confuse the quarterbacks. Like it's his version of offensive motion. They use motion to disguise. He uses defensive secondary to disguise.
Yep.
And so, like, I keep thinking to myself, like you talk about a Josh Pascal, like you saw what he did with Paul Kruger.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I'd take it in a heartbeat. Somebody like that. Yeah. Let's see. Tasman says Derek Stingley Jr. is a high jeopardy pick.
He is, but look, he's still a top 10 player to me. And when you're looking at this cornerback right now in this draft, he's one of the purest corners with good size on him that's in this draft. It's not a lot of guys right now, pure corners, that have the size to be able to play outside. It's a lot of slot corners in this draft, a lot of slot corners. So he definitely still is a top 10 pick to me.
Right, yeah, no, I agree. Like, there isn't much that Stingley has shown me where he shouldn't be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
So, can't.
But it's sauce
yeah, it dude, like,
it's got to be done.
Big Low says, JR is a fool. Hot sauce in Atlanta. That's right. Hot sauce in Atlanta. And hey. I'll get a T-shirt made that says hot sauce if I got to. Let's see. King 7 says, what's easier, you think, to fix between the defense and the offense with the amount of money we have? The way it stands right now, I would say the offense, and that's just because right now Matt Ryan's still on the roster. I know that's something not a lot of people want to hear, but you get a competent center and a run game. Like, we've seen Matt Ryan turn Harry Douglas into a 1,000-yard receiver. We've seen Matt Ryan throw touchdowns to 13 different players. You see what I'm saying? Like, I ain't saying that Matt Ryan didn't benefit from having Julio Jones. Obviously, he did. But I'm saying that if you keep Matt Ryan upright and give him a little bit of time, he can find the open guy. So I think to myself that the offense is easier to fix. But, this, because you got one piece, really two pieces on the defense with Grady and with AJ. Yeah. You have at least half or close to half of an offensive line and the most important position on the field, which is the quarterback, which is proven time and time again by the amount of money quarterbacks get paid. And we can look at it all day long. You just look at what Denver just gave up to get a quarterback.
Woo.
Like, I'm talking 5 picks, 2 players, They gave that up to get a proven quarterback.
But, once again, Denver did what the Falcons wanted to do. They built the team, right? And now they feel like that's all they needed to be able to get themselves over the hump. They got the offensive line. They got the offensive wide receiver weapons. They have the running back that we should have got. But anyway, I digress there. And they got everything they need. All they need now was the QB that can orchestrate it.
Yeah, exactly. And now they feel they got that in Russell Wilson. Millie Mills says, JR, you don't think Jordan Davis makes a bigger impact for us right now? A bigger impact than who? I will say that to begin with. If you're saying a bigger impact than Sauce Gardner, I think you saw towards the end of last season what you got from Anthony Rush and Mike Pennell. They were able to hold up at the point of attack, which is what you're asking Jordan Davis to do. He might give you a little bit out of pass rush, but he's mainly more, I'm going to clog up the entire middle of the line, and you're not going to move me. So with that being said, I think right now I would say an elite secondary gives you more than another piece on a defensive line.
There's a lot more flexibility if you got that elite secondary that you can, the type of guys you can look for. It's a lot more flexibility in that area.
Tony Wright wants to know your thoughts on Boye Mafe. In the second round, would you take Boye Mafe at the end of the second round?
Oh yeah. That's why I have a mock. This dude definitely has some tools to work with, and we talked about that elite secondary, right? Now you imagine this guy up front for the Atlanta Falcons, and you got that secondary behind him. he's going to get to that quarterback and could probably get you 12 sacks in his first year as a rookie because of the tools that he possesses. I would love to get Mafi, but it's just so many great players. That second round right now, like you look at my board, it is stacked with guys, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even have a tight end in the second round. That's just how stacked I have
dude,
it right
this
now.
like, Josh Gillum says we need a number 1 pass rusher more than we need a number 2 corner, in my opinion. And I completely understand that. I completely understand that thinking. But it would just, for me, it's just like how deep this draft is with edge rushers. Like, unless, okay, all that being said, unless like Thibodeau is sitting there, he's about the only one that I'm taking at 8. I don't think he's going to be there. That's kind of why I'm on with Toby. That's kind of why I'm on the Sauce train.
And I love Jermaine
I do too.
Johnson.
He was my guy. He is my guy, like in that sense.
But if Thibodeau is not the guy at 8, to me, I'm going Sauce Gardner if he's available, Doc. I'm just telling you right now. That's just how I feel about it.
I mean, straight up and down, I'll say this: if we fall, like if we trade back to 11, then to me, I know it's almost splitting hairs. But then a Jordan Davis, a Jermaine Johnson, David Ojabo, right? Those guys are, it's wide open at that point to me. But if you're still sitting there at 8 and one of these like elite secondary guys are there, or if Tibbs falls and he's there, you got to pull that trigger. You got to.
Pull it.
Melvin Emery says, "What's up, fellas? What's going on, Melvin? Glad you decided to join us tonight." King says, "I think a situation with Jordan Davis, and Grady Jarrett would be like having Poe again. That was when it was a top 10 run stop in the defense. Don't see why the Falcons went away from that. No, like I think Poe was a guy that we should have kept. But I guess Poe was looking for $10 million a year. Is Poe even in the league anymore?
I don't even know. I thought he was, but I think Dallas was the last team.
Maybe. I can't even remember now. Let's see. Eric Power says, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, that's kind of, I'm glad I made my point a little better. John Slayton says, we need to eat the dead money, talk to Washington, get first pick, and go in young. And we have more money in 23. Dimitrov built back to front is bull. So he was calling us out on because Dimitrov never did build the trenches. And
see, I disagree with that because he did try to build the trenches. The problem was the type of players that he took and overpaid that wasn't able to produce the way that you needed them to produce. So you got to remember, once again, when they got here, they already had a number 1 pass rusher in place in John Abraham. Okay, they didn't have to look for John Abraham. He was already on the team because we had already traded for John Abraham in 2006. So they tried to build in the trenches, brother, but they didn't have the right players. That was not a good area for Thomas Dimitrov.
No,
he just could not spot.
We had our best scouting at that junction was when we had Pioli. But even then, it didn't really manifest much other than Grady Jarrett. Let's see.
Right. They paid Edwards all kinds of money. Y'all remember him?
Why? Why are you gonna? Why?
I'm just saying.
Edwards back up in
so
this.
I don't agree with that at all because I can name players that they tried to bring in the trenches, but it just never worked out because they couldn't either develop them or they just made the wrong signings and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I agree. The trenches has definitely not been their strong suit. Hopefully that's something that will change going forward, but it's already in a sense not off to a great start with Mayfield and Dahlman. We'll see if it goes up because I honestly believe that those guys were project guys anyway. Like Mayfield was, I think in their mind he wasn't supposed to be starting.
He wasn't, but it was too late. and bring in Josh. It was just too late at that point.
King 7 says, bold prediction. If Walker starts, he will outshine Debo and Foye if we keep Foye. Yeah, like I'm really wanting Walker to get some meaningful snaps because it seems like every time he's on the field, he's making, he's making plays. So he's a guy you'll be hearing me champion throughout this offseason. Josh Gillum says, Robert Quinn said it was a coin toss between us and the Bears. Wish we had won that toss. That would have been nice. And also, you could have had a chance of re-signing Charles Harris.
Well, question. What's Robert's numbers been since he made that choice?
Last year, he had a good year.
I'm thinking.
First year, he was on worse or on par with Dante Fowler. Hold on. Let me pull it up. I tell you. Just because I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Last year, Last year he had 18 and a half sacks. Last year he had the same amount of sacks as the entire Falcons team. Had a half sack more. But in 2020, he had 2 sacks. And then his 1 year in Dallas, he had 11 and a half.
Yeah, that's why we wanted him.
And so, the 11 and a half, then he had 2, but then he followed it up with 18 and a half.
Yeah, well, you can't beat that then.
So, that would have been nice. I ain't even going to lie. That would have been nice.
He didn't want to play for us, though.
He flipped a coin and it went the other direction.
Yeah.
So,
man,
Toby, we've done some talking.
I knew we would.
Like we didn't even have to do a mock draft tonight.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all check out the website as I post my mock draft tonight. Since I didn't, this Calvin Ridley thing messed me up from getting it posted yesterday. Because Monday night's also like family game night, right? Gotta spend that time with the family. But all right, well I guess we can go ahead and wrap this thing up. Man, we appreciate all y'all being here. Kicking it with us tonight. Keep an eye on the channel, on the Twitters, on the site, everything. Especially with free agency kicking off. Depending on what we do, we might do another live stream at the end of next week, maybe, to just talk about the free agency. I know it'll be out of our cycle, but I think we may have to. Tony Wright one's got one more thing to say. He says, now, fellas, remember everyone can't be drafted in the first round. There are only 32 spots. Christian Watson will be there at 43. You keep pushing.
Hey, let's hope he is.
I definitely hope he is, because I'll take him in a heartbeat. As always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Toby
D 1991.
Like I said, keep an eye on the channel. Keep an eye on the website. Keep an eye on us on Twitter. And by request, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.